So today I'm going to show you how to make these yummy homemade buns. Good morning. I'm Angie and it is a very bright and shiny Sunday morning in isolation. So I thought that since there's no flour in the stores that it must be in everyone's houses. So why not make some buns with it, right? So that's what we're going to start with. This is going to be 3 parts to this. So I will not going to make you sit through while everything rises and all of that kind of jazz. So the first part is going to be making the actual dough itself, okay? So let's get started, okay? Something that you don't have to necessarily do, because I often forget to do. If you can remember taking out your yeast, I don't know, 15 minutes to half an hour beforehand to warm up a little bit, because it's usually kept in the fridge. Honestly, I don't know if it makes a big difference because I've never noticed a difference in my buns, but I'd just let you know that is something that I have heard from people who actually know how to bake, okay? So I can't say that I belong in a kitchen baking or cooking. I never have. I didn't grow up doing it. And that's why I'm able to show this to you, is because this recipe is so easy that even I can do it. Anything that I put into my group is going to be very easy. So bear with me today. I'm not great at Facebook Lives yet, but I'm working on it. Okay, so jump right in here. So we're going to start with making sure you have a nice big bowl. This one is I think this one's 59 cups. That's a bowl. The recipe does fit in a 32 cup bowl, so you're welcome to use that size as well. Or if you need to split up, you do what you got to do. But this is my jumbo bowl that I just recently got, so I'm going to play with it today and see how it goes for us. Okay, so 13 cups of flour is what we're going to start with. So I use white flour most of the time because nobody else wants to eat brown bread in my house but me. So and I have to count these out loud because so many times I've done this where I lost track in between and had to take everything out and start fresh. So yes, I'm going to do this and try not to talk through it so that I don't screw it up. 1 cup. 2 cup. 3 cup. 4 cup. I'm sorry, this is the boring part. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now, because I've done this recipe a whole lot of times, I always end up putting a little bit more in, so I'm going to add another probably half a cup, so 13 and a half cups. Okay, so I'm done with the flour now. So once I've got all the flour in, then I'm going to actually try to make a well in my bowl here with the flour. So scoop it up along the sides, make a nice little well. Obviously can't show you or else it's going to move all my flour around. So okay, now we're going with a half a cup of sugar. For my modular mate, my half cup is missing. So half a cup of sugar. Okay, 1 tablespoon of salt. Tablespoon salt. So this is my mother-in-law's recipe. She is one of those women who was born in the kitchen and is absolutely amazing at this stuff. And this is one of those things I just kind of always wanted to learn for some reason, and so I watched her, she taught me, And it's one of the few things I got good at because I'm doing it all the time. Okay, now I want 2 tablespoons of my yeast. And this is the quick rise. I know I've seen a lot of times that people, if they're using yeast, will always mix it with the water first before they put it in. I know, honestly, I've never done it, and again, don't take my word for it necessarily, but it's always worked out for me, so I just keep going with it. This is what I was taught, and it's working, so. Okay, so 2 tablespoons of yeast. Now I need a 1/4 cup of oil and 2 tablespoons of it. 1/4 cup. Empty that. We're not wasting in these times, so use up every last drop. And 2 tablespoons. Okay. So this part is not going to take very long. Mixing everything up. And now I need 7 cups of warm water. Okay, so I'm going to move over here a little bit. I'm going to use my, here I got 2 cups. And 7. Okay, so this is when we get to the fun stuff, where we get to make a nice little mess. Well, I'm always pretty good at making a mess in the kitchen, but this is where you actually have to make a mess. So I'm going to put a little bit of lard on my hands, just so that it's a little easier to wash up after I'm done digging through all this crapola here. Okay. So I love these matzo bowls because you can hold on to them with some nice little loops on the side here. So now I am just trying to bring the flour into the well and mix up the liquid and the flour. And it's fun. Okay, so I was looking up some stuff this morning too, so I could pretend like I knew what I was talking about. You know, with Mr. Google there. And so I was trying to figure out, okay, like I really honestly didn't know the purpose of kneading, like what specifically happens. And so apparently, and don't quote me on this again because, you know, this is just Google-fied, but apparently the idea is that the proteins, I guess, combine while you're kneading here so that it kind of holds everything together a little better, and it forms gluten is what I believe that I understood. Of course, that's like a bad word now, but so I'm just mixing, pushing it down. So the idea is that the texture in the end is not going to be, at least again, according to what I've done in the past and what I learned, is that it shouldn't be quite this sticky. So once again, I'm going to add a little bit more flour. Okay. And it's all about practice, right? So we're off and do this. Ready to get, but so they say if you knead it too little, it will be way too fluffy and kind of fall apart. And if you knead it too much, it's going to be too heavy. Okay, this is getting better. Okay, so barely sticky anymore, which is what I'm going for. I don't have enough dough to make my buns, so I'll try to get it off my hands here. There we go. It should be non-sticky enough that it forms a ball. Okay, so now that I have my nice little dough ball, now what I want to do is I want to grease the bowl so that it will allow this to rise without sticking to the sides. Geez, that's like a workout. I'm breathing heavy here. Okay, so I'm gonna wash my hands real quick and then I will grease up my bowl here. So of course my kid promised that she was going to come help me do my video here today. But you know, she's 14, so I guess I should have known that she would actually show up or wake up in time to do such things. She's helped me once or twice in the past, but it just really isn't her cup of tea, I guess. Not to say that it was ever mine until I got into I was kind of forced to get into baking and cooking when my kid became severely allergic, so I kind of had to start doing some things, and I hated it at first, probably because of what I was having to do. So I hated it, and I stopped doing it as soon as we figured out what her allergies were. And then I got into it again probably in the last year or so, and now I'm loving spending time in the kitchen because everything that I'm finding is easy, and I'm finding the best tools to make everything super easy. Okay, lovely lard, and I am just going to lift up my dough, and I'm going to grease the bottom, grease the edges. It's really quite disgusting, which is kind of what makes it fun. Oh my god, when I first learned that, when my mommy-in-law was showing me to use lard, I friggin' just about had a conniption fit. Oh my god, lard, that's disgusting. Who would ever use that stuff? But once I realized that it's a very practical thing to use while you're doing this, so just pull the dough to the side and rub the walls and the bottom until you get the whole bowl greased. So everything is now greased, and so now I'm going to pick up my dough and flip it upside down. So now I have a little lard on the top of it and lard surrounding it. So now it will be able to rise quite easily, not sticking to the edges. Yummy. Okay. I don't know how everyone else is handling isolation these days, but it's making me want to like cook and make everything. So I'm keeping myself busy, you know, painting, cleaning, all of that crap. But yeah, I'm really quite enjoying hanging out in the kitchen these days. So, okay, so part one is done. We put the lid on our big old bowl here, close it up, And it won't take very long before the lid pops off anyways, but whatever. So part one's done, and what I'm going to do is, because I've done this many times, I know I'm looking at about an hour and a half that I'm going to let this rise, and then I will, actually I probably shouldn't say that. I will probably let it rise for an hour. I will do a small bit of kneading again, and then I'll wait about another half hour or so. So in 1.5 hours, I can meet you back here, and we will work on forming the buns and the bread. So this is part 2 of my bun making. Okay, so take a look at my dough, and so in my 59 cup, my jumbo, that's a bowl, it rises right to the top in that hour and a half. When I'm using the, I actually don't know what size this is, the large, I think it is. Normally my lid would be sitting on here, and it's about, I don't know, 1 to 2 inches above the rim of the bowl. So this is good. Now, depending upon what flour you're using, if you are using brown flour, okay, whole wheat flour, then you would want to not to do a second rise. So right now we have the option, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, where we can knead this again and let it rise for another hour. What that would do is make your buns a little heavier. If that's what you're going for, go for it. I don't have time for that today, so I'm going to treat this as if it was whole wheat bread, and I'm going to not knead it a second time. So, I mean, the idea is you're releasing the air again, therefore it's a little more condensed, right? So you have that choice to knead this, let it sit for another hour, or you can go ahead, like I'm going to do, and form the buns at this point, okay? So, in order to do this, back to my good old lard, okay? And I'm going to be using a lot of this while I'm making my buns because it gets really sticky. So you can decide what size you want your buns to be. Some like the dinner roll size. I like mine a little more hamburger size, so that's what I'm going to go with. So all it is, simply picking up, cutting off a piece, okay? This is, I don't know, this is about a handful here, right? And then what I like to do is I take my hands and I make a nice little O, and I take the dough and I'm shoving it into the hole. Okay, I now have a nice little round ball forming at the bottom, and then I simply pinch the top and twist. Okay, roll it, pinch top, twist. Okay, I have greased my sheets already, sorry, and so here we go. So I will just do one pan here. Now these are going to rise on the pan here for, I don't know, probably about a half an hour. So again, push through, twist, and there we go. Now, I would love to chit chat with the people who are on here. I actually learned that it was quite rude, apparently, to speak to people on a Facebook Live unless they comment, which, I don't know. I'm not, you know, the top etiquette master, so the idea is simply that not everyone wants to become the center of attention, right? Some people just want to watch and do their own thing, and that's totally fine. So, okay, so punching it on through, pinch, twist, and there we go. So I'm leaving a, I don't know, not quite an inch between, maybe almost half an inch here. I don't mind if my buns touch when they bake. So again, sorry, pushing it through my little circle hole here. pinch, twist, and away we go. Yeah, some people don't like their buns to bake and touch together because they want the whole outside of the bun to be crusty. I do not like crusty buns. No, I like the soft buns, so I have no issues if my buns are touching each other. And no, I'm not going to make you sit through and watch me do this whole bowl. I'm just going to finish up one of these. And I mean, you can make different sizes, right? If you want, I can do one tray of my hamburger size, and I can do another one that's in something like this. This is what, probably 9 by 11 or something like that. That's probably what I would use to do the little dinner roll size. I mean, you play with it, right? Circle, punch it in. I'm also going to leave enough to make a loaf of bread, but I have in the past found that I have found that my loaves, when I do it without doing a second knead, become so light and fluffy that when you cut them, I mean, they kind of fall into pieces, right? I don't have any problems with the buns turning out like that, or maybe they do and it just doesn't, I mean, they're not falling apart by any means. But yeah, for some reason my loaves at this point would do that. So I'm going to save a little bit extra and knead it again, rise it again before I put it into my loaf pan. Are they all the same size? Yeah, I'd like to say I'm perfect at this, but not so much. They're pretty close though. Okay, push it in, pinch top, and twist, and there we go. It's funny, I didn't have to put very much lard on my hands this time, so it looks like I had plenty in my bowl. So, I mean, I like the idea of knowing how to make buns and bread, especially in, okay, that's starting to get a little dry, especially in situations like this when you're in isolation and you can't actually go out and buy more bread. So it's kind of nice to know how to do this. So as long as I have flour and yeast, basically, I will be able to, there we go, I'll be able to keep us eating something. And it makes the house smell really, really good when you're done. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna fit a couple more on here. Smaller ones. Push, pinch, and twist. Smaller ones are really kind of cute. Okay, there we go. So yeah, just grease up your hands anytime that it starts sticking to you, and it'll go a lot smoother. Okay, so that should work. All right, so what you would do at this point is we're just going to, we'll finish up, I'll do that off camera, is we would let this rise again for another half an hour. but we want to cover it. We want to keep it in a warm place. And you can use a tea towel or whatever. And, oh, good Lord, it's alive. Welcome, Tegan. Welcome to life. So, yes, a half hour more, 45 minutes to rise. And then what I will do is put either some more lard on top, or I'm probably going to put an egg wash on it. And when we do that, I don't want to put the egg wash on it right now, because when I put the towel on it, it's all just going to get sucked up and absorbed into my towel, and that's just gross. I want it on my buns, so I'll let it rise. Say that for the third time. I'll let it rise with the towel on top, and in another half hour, 45 minutes, I will do an egg wash, and then I will put it into the oven. So the next part 3 will be really quick. Yeah, part 3.
Or 12 parts.
There's actually it's actually going to be like 4 parts if you want to see it, what it's like when I pull it out. But anyways, part 3, I'll just do a quick egg wash and throw it in the oven. Okay. And now it's time for the glaze. Towel off, and we can see they're perfectly sized, ready to go. So I'm just going to use egg and put a quick glaze on here. You don't have to, and I don't always do it. I forget a lot of things a lot of times, but this will give you the nice golden top that people like to see. So. And I got this little, I'm going to pretend I know what it is, but anyways, I like Dollarama or something, so you can get them anywhere. And I don't want to push down because I don't want to squish my buns. So that's why I'm just doing splash it all over myself. Nice work. So I preheated my oven for 375. Of course, I can only fit one of these in the oven at a time, so the rest will have to rise just a little longer. It's too bad, but c'est la vie. Okay, so that's glazed, ready to go, and then I let this rise longer for my my bread. And so, I forgot to grease it. Alright, so probably by the time the second set of buns goes in the oven, that one should be ready to go. And that one, towel is not going to touch it, so I can do that now. There we go. Okay, so oven 375, and I can put one set in now. Usually I just put it in the middle rack. And we're setting it for 20 minutes. All right, told you that was going to be fast, easy peasy. And so then once this is done, in 20 minutes, I will take it out and I will show you what it looks like. Okay, so we've come to the end. The first rack of buns are done, so we'll take them out now. Okay, I need to get over this. Golden, beautiful. Just want to see the bottom to make sure. just nice, brown, crispy. Okay, so now you want to let them fully cool off before you bag them up. Otherwise they're going to get condensation in the bag and they'll get soggy. So set them on a cooling rack, and I don't know, it could take about half an hour even to get them to cool off completely. And that is it. Then you can have some hot. Then you can have yourself a nice hot bun with margarine on it. Nothing is better. Melty margarine. Ta-da! You have made buns. So congratulations, and now you know you can do this all the time because they taste better than the stuff you buy anyway. So thanks for joining me, and I would love it if you would share videos with other people and teach them how to make buns. It'd be awesome.